Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Show. My producer says my name is Michael Bull. Thanks for being with us. Today we're talking industrial real estate. My guest is Larry Callahan. He's CEO of Pattillo Industrial Real Estate. And Larry, I think one of the things that our listeners and viewers are curious about is this Trump presidency. Is what does it mean for the economy and what does it mean for industrial real estate? And of all the things that he's saying he's going to do, or trying to do, what is the one that you think could most impact industrial real estate?
Well, the one thing I can say for sure is it will impact you.
Yeah.
And that there are a lot of plans that have been talked about, and they affect major segments of the economy. The tax code, Obamacare, and a revision of probably rather than a complete repeal, there'll be some sort of replacement or revision to it. The tax code as it relates to tariffs and bringing things in the country in an attempt to revitalize manufacturing by putting up barriers at the borders. These are major issues. Deregulation, major issues. Now, talking about them and getting them done, even when you have a Congress that is your party, are two different things. For instance, the tax code can have a major impact on us. And people are, quite appropriately paying attention to that, but there isn't yet a plan out there. And it won't be something that will be, you can't tweet a new tax code. So it's going to take a little bit of work to work that through. It's a major piece of legislation and it affects everybody. There's talk that tax rates for corporations may be lowered from, the current maximums in the 30s down to 20%. Well, that's a major thing that can, invigorate the economy and invigorate companies and produce higher profits and more investment. So all those things are good things. Those that are predicting it, and I'm not an economist, but I read a lot of the economists, but those that are predicting this are saying, okay, if in fact you lower tax rates and in fact you deregulate certain industries that have had more controls on them and you provide less controls, and you start a program of major infrastructure investment, in the order of $100 billion or more a year, that will have a tendency to stimulate the economy. So I think a lot of people have adjusted to the possibility, and we have a president who is stating that his objective is to try to move the economy along faster. We've been through 7 or 8 years of an economy that was struggling to try to get to a 2% growth rate. And 2% is not terribly robust, and the new president is saying he would like to see 4%. Well, talking about it and getting there are two different things, but he is attempting to do that with things that he has talked about. Mm-hmm. If he is successful in doing them, and we have a more robust and we have more stimulation, this could be a very good thing for the industrial real estate segment, and probably every real estate segment.
Yeah.
There is a lot of talk that we've had a long run here of expansion. We're at record levels for vacancies are at lows, construction activities are at high, leasing activities are at all-time highs, and everybody starts worrying whenever things are robust. Right. Well, is the next thing going to happen that something goes the other way? Yeah. Well, if in fact these things that are talked about that will stimulate the economy, and infrastructure spending, most economists will tell you, is one of the best things you can do if you're talking about roads and bridges and things like that, that will actually ease the flow of commerce. So those could be great things for the economy. And they won't happen today or tomorrow. The tax code won't change today or tomorrow. And you won't invent a replacement for Obamacare overnight. But if you work on them all during the course of 2017, you may start seeing the effects of those things in 2018, which is about the time that a lot of people were predicting maybe we're due for a slowdown.
Yeah.
So maybe, in fact, many people are predicting that that slowdown that would have eventually happened has probably been pushed back into a later date.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, because if you run a business or you invest in the stock market or you're investing in real estate, you are trying to predict that future, right? And when you add the repatriation, the the tariffs on imports, the deregulations, and a reduction in corporate tax rates, and if you can get some of that done, or he gets some of that done, that would seem to be a boom for industrial real estate.
I think it is. I mean, it's, again, how does it happen and how does it happen?
Right.
And, each individual piece of that is going to take a lot of work, and other people will have a hand in it. There's legislation that has to be passed, and each one of the senators wants to have input in that, and the congressmen. So there's a lot that can happen, and the courts can tell you you can or can't do things, which we're already seeing.
Well, so we're not a political show, but most of the people that you talk to in industrial real estate world, were they doing the Snoopy dance when Trump was elected?
I stayed up all night to watch that whole process. I thought it was a historic moment, and I can't remember the last time. It was probably in college, the last time I stayed up all night to watch something. But it was a remarkable thing. The first thing that happened was the stock market just tanked. And then the very same day, it turned around and went the other way.
Yeah. And
it's been on a tear ever since. And we're sitting in, February of 2017. The election was in November, and it's been doing nothing but go up. So, some of it is unleashing what they call animal spirits in the economy, and they have been subdued for quite a while. They are based on the idea that all the things that have been talked about and promised during the campaign will actually happen. And with a Congress that is the same party, we actually have a very high probability that we're going to get tax reform, we're going to get deregulation of various sorts, and we're going to get some sort of a change in the healthcare. So we've got a lot of things that are major adjustments in the economy that are all probably going to have a positive effect on business.
Well, the people in the industrial real estate world that you get to talk to a lot, the companies, the owners, the people in your world, I know there's a lot of people that are were really saddened by his winning the election. A lot of people are very excited. What would you say is the percentage of people in the industrial real estate world that were happy versus people who were like, what, Trump's our president?
Well, I think your job, if you're a business person, you have your personal, everybody has the right to vote, and you have your own opinion, and some people are excited. What your job is to plan for the environment that exists now.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I see a lot of people doing. I do see people, there were a number of people that were very strong supporters and very excited. There are some people that went into a state of depression and shock and dismay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the mood of the country right now. But somehow or another, we have strong institutions, and we're a strong country, and we got good fundamentals. We will figure out how to do it, and I think that's the job of the business people, is to say, okay, the environment is about to change a little bit. Let's plan for that.
Yeah.
And I think an economy that's growing at more than 2% will generally be good for industrial real estate.
Yeah.
The other thing about that really a lot of people aren't talking about is if you increase from where we are right now, you increase spending and you lower tax rates, that usually results in a deficit. That's the math. And if you do, and you keep pushing along that path, at some point in time, you probably are going to stimulate, both from the deficit and from the speed of the economy, more inflation. And that's actually not all that bad a thing for real estate if inflation includes the value of your properties. But it also will push up the cost of interest, which is a major component in the industrial, actually any real estate project. Interest is a factor.
Yeah, well, those are good points, and that's why I was wondering about the people that you talk to every day. How many of them were a little concerned about that and not? So let's look at another factor. It seems like one of the easier things that he might be able to do from the economists I talked to is maybe to reduce personal tax rates. Well, Americans, I think, have proven if they have more money, they're going to spend more money. And what you said in an earlier segment about the growth in online sales. So if Americans have more money and they're going to spend it, and they're going to do a lot of that online, what's that mean for industrial real estate?
I think it's good. Yeah, that was a softball in the air. Boom. Well, we would definitely see that as a positive thing.
Yeah.
So
well, I was asked. I do a daily series, Ask Michael Bull, where I answer a commercial real estate question. I had the question a couple of weeks ago about which sector do I believe moving forward be the best sector to invest in. Obviously, you invest based on your own personal and company goals, but just an overall general sector. I said, Well, industrial, because of all the things, if he can get any of these things done, and then you just look at the regular growth of online sales, you got to look at industrial, the future really looks rosy.
I think it does,
Yeah.
and we're pleased by that, because that's all we do.
You're still doing the
Yeah.
Snoopy dance, right?
That's what we do.
Well, Larry, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being in Studio One.
Glad to be a part of it.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us on the radio stations, on YouTube, or the show website. And thank you for sharing the show on your social media. Until next week. No, wait. Next week, got to tell you about this show. Our show's going to be, whoa, I should have covered that in the lease. You don't want to miss that. Till next week, be sure that you always lead, learn, and laugh. And join us for the Commercial Real Estate Show. Hey there, thanks for checking out the Commercial Real Estate Show. Don't miss a video of special interest to you. Be sure to subscribe below. And if you appreciate the videos, be sure and thank our sponsors. There's a link to more information about them in the description. For more videos, podcasts, and articles, check out creshow.com.